Good morning, good afternoon, good night, good evening to everyone around the world. I'm so super excited to be here to share something that you can take away with you, and we'll be like connecting all the research that you've heard so far with your own data. I'm really excited to get started. And can I share my screen? Okay, everyone. Thank you so much for being here, and thank you so much for this opportunity. And I can already feel the energy in the room. And I was in virtual meeting before, and Steve was amazing. I really felt real love and was prepared for this talk. So I am Malathy Muthu, and I'm so grateful to be here to be with you all in the Love Unleashed event. And what I'm going to go through today is literally take you on a journey that is told by nearly more than 10 million heartbeats, with two groundbreaking studies, and a story that connects your emotion, your heart rhythm, and the earth itself. And I'll make sure you remember it. When you finish this meeting, you're never going to forget what I said. It's always going to be there. And that's, if I make that happen, I'm successful. And I'm ready, and let's go. You have seen this. The talk is about. I'll just start a little about me. By day, I work in AI and machine learning at Intuit. I spend majority of my time building the smart technologies. And when I say Intuit, I'm the product manager for TurboTax. I bet every one of you filed your taxes on time, and I hope you got the good refund. That's my job, to make sure that I do all the algorithm research, getting the all possible questions that we can ask to get your refund up. And I also chair doctoral dissertations in quantum computing and AI in the Capital Technology University. But my heart, when I really mean literally, is in this research. Through this research, I've learned a lot that's life-changing for me. And I've had the privilege of collaborating with Dr. Roland McCready, Dr. Nakam Plonka, and the HeartMath research team like Mike Atkinson, Jeff. And what I'm going to show you is two largest studies ever conducted in the field of heart rate variability biofeedback. And the first one was published in Nature Scientific Reports in January 2025. And if you know Nature, it's a very rigorous publication with peer reviewed. And the second one, the research, like we extended it to include like 7 more years of data capturing the solar cycles. And you might be thinking like, what is an AI engineer and a heart researcher? It sounds quite unusual combination. You are absolutely right. But what I understood is the heart has its own intelligence, and the data proves it. And to be very frank, like weekly, I meet once with the HeartMath team. That 1 hour of meeting with the team, compared to like my day-to-day office and other like chairing and other stuff, that 1 hour, I wear an Aura ring and I track my heart rate like throughout the day. Every time I meet with the HeartMath team, my heart rate is very low and it's like more relaxed. My Aura says you're in the restored zone. And that itself, like I can tell that Dr. Rollin and his team, like just talking to them, connecting with them, feels like I'm not even working. I'm like actually like doing this work for my own heart and for my own well-being. And that's the connection. Like for the past like 2 years, I've been meeting them like every week, and I really look forward to connecting and learning more and helping them more and getting all this insight to the public, like to everybody, to know like what you're doing. Does science support it? Because if science supports it, then there's no like guessing or anything. Like it's not just intuition, it is scientific, and that's more powerful to like reach the world and share that learning to the world. And yeah, with that, a little bit more detailed about me. I really don't want to like read my resume and bore you all. All I just want to say is like I've been working with data at a massive scale at Amazon, Oracle, Hewlett Packard, and now with Intuit. And what I did was like just bring that data science lens to the HeartMath research. And what we found blew our mind. And, we just want to show you that the heart, like your heart, is really knowing like what you want, what you need, and where you have to go. And we'll show you with the data. And let's start with you. And here's where it is. Like, you have seen the research like on Friday, like by Dr. Rollin and by Dr. Nakam. Like, your heart is generating the electromagnetic field, and it extends like 3 to 4 feet around your body, which is measurable. And we start with personal coherence, the social coherence, the global coherence, and there is like non-vocal coherence too. Like, we have seen that study, and it's quite impressive. And even the research that Dr. Joe shared, and everything was quite impressive. Now, what I want us to like understand is this field that you are feeling and sensing can be trained, and which we also know. And what we are suggesting, what we are showing here is like, which is much more significant, is how does this influence the people sitting right next to you? And then we take it up to the next level. Like, how does it influence the earth itself? So starting with like personal, social, like global within us, and then we uplift it and take it to the geomagnetic fields, the earth. And we want to like connect all that and see how we are. And we just like, before starting this session, like we just started with like closing your eyes, just feeling how you were. And then when you got into that feeling of appreciation, and like for someone you love, a pet or a child, or like a beautiful place or a moment of pure joy, that something shifted in you, right? Something shifted in your body, something shifted in your heart. And what we're trying to do is, our research is all about like, what is that is shifting, and what is that causing to you and causing to the planet. And with that, like, let's deep dive in research one. So when I say like deep dive, you have heard about in all the research, like 1.8 million data set, like in several studies in the past 2 days, right? Now I'm going to deep dive into that and show you what we really did in that research, and what is the lesson learned out of that research, and what is the key takeaway that you can go out with that research. And going to the next slide, I'll make you take a moment to like look at the scale of the data. It's 1.8 million heart coherence practice sessions from over 70,000 people across 6 continents: North America, Europe, Asia, South America, Africa, and is published in January 2025 in Scientific Reports, one of the Nature's journal, like peer-reviewed, like I said, rigorous and massive. And these aren't any lab subjects in a hospital. These are real people using the Inner Balance app in their real lives, at home, at work, before bed, during stressful moments. After each session, when you use the Inner Balance app, the users report how they are feeling. There's an option that you can choose like from 8 emotions. Like, there is 4 positive emotions, which tells excited, happy, peaceful, content. And then there is 4 negative emotions, which is angry, anxious, bored, and sad. When we collected all this data, we wanted to answer a really simple question. Does the emotion you bring to your practice actually change your coherence? And the answer is a resounding yes. I'll show you in the next slide. I'll give you some moment to like just grasp this slide. There's a lot to learn from this slide. You see a pie chart, and all the 1.8 million sessions that we analyzed, and the people who reported their emotions, we charted it out. And if you look at it, the vast majority reported positive emotions, with contented being 30.1%. followed by peaceful, 26.7%, happy, 21.9%, excited, 6.1%. And the negative emotions are in the minority, like starting with anxious being like the most felt negative emotion and getting you down to angry, which is like 1.1% of the people. If you add all this up, it's 84.8% of people reported positive and only 15.1% of the people reported negative. So what does this say? Your practice is working. Across 1.8 million sessions, across 6 continents, coherence practice is shifting the vast majority of people into positive emotional states. And that's with data at a scale no one has ever seen before. And I bet many of you are practicing with your Inner Balance or EM Wave app every single day. And what's more exciting is this is all your data. Like you have, I'm sure like you are in this room, we have analyzed your data. You have done this practice. Your data is right here. Like you are part of this research. And you should be giving yourself a big round of applause because you are proving that this works. And your data helps us do this research in a massive scale. And I want to expand this like even beyond and show like something that really surprised me. And this is the key learning that I wanted you all to have because this is the first time you're sharing this. So if you look at this chart, like this is a bar chart, right? Like it shows your average coherence score for each emotion. The green bars are the positive ones, the red bars are the negative ones. And if you look at the green bar, the excited scored the highest coherence of 3.56. Happy is close, then comes peaceful, then contented. And then like you go down the red bars, the anxious, bored, sad, angry. And this is the average of like everyone, like which is 1.8 million people like who have reported the emotions. And there is a full 1 point difference between excited and angry. And these differences are statistically significant and with a p-value which is less than 0.001, which means it's a huge significance. Like there is no chance, it's not by random possibility. It is true. Like it's like if you are excited and you're angry, like you see this one whole coherence difference across 1.8 million sessions. And when I did this research, like I was actually thinking that highest coherence means like you're very calm and peaceful. Like I was expecting the peaceful or content to be the states of emotion that is like related to highest coherence. But I was surprised to see that excited, which is 6% of the people in that 1.8 million, excited, and then happy were the ones who had the highest coherence. So being emotionally alive in a positive way is what like highest coherence is. And this tells us that coherence is not just about like shutting down your emotions. It's not about being mellow. It's not about like bringing, it's all about like you have to bring in an activated positive emotion to your practice. You want to be highest coherent, like joy, excitement, enthusiasm, gratitude, love. These are the emotions that create the most ordered, most coherent heart rhythm. So the key takeaway that I want to bring is next time you sit down with your inner balance sensor, don't just try to relax. Like try to feel genuinely excited about something. Like feel deep appreciation for someone you love. And that's what creates the highest coherence. And let's go to the next slide. And this is another important scientific research that really correlates to like what HeartMath has been saying for years. So if you look at it, Out of that 1.8 million sessions, the most common coherent frequency was the 0.10 hertz. And that's the six breaths per minute, like per minute, like your inhale, exhale, 6 times per minute. That is roughly like 10 seconds for your inhale and your exhale. And that's the standard that you will hear about in all literature, like that's been published so far. But what we noticed in the 1.8 million sessions of people doing the HeartMath practice is the highest coherence scores were actually at the lower frequencies between 0.04 and 0.10 hertz, which is when people are breathing even slower, like deeper, like one breath, like every 16 to 18 seconds, they had a higher coherence than the 0.10 hertz. But here's what it's beautiful, like, because when we collected your data, we didn't tell anyone to breathe at a specific rate. They just followed the HeartMath approach. Breathe a little slower and deeper than usual. Find a rhythm that's comfortable for you. That's it. And the data of all this proves that people naturally discovered their own unique resonant frequency, which means that most people showed remarkable stability. From people's, like we checked same people sessions across that years that we analyzed across these data sets, they were naturally tuning into their own body's natural rhythm of slower and deeper breathing, with a standard deviation which is less than 0.012 hertz from session to session. So what this literally means is trust the process, breathe slower, breathe deeper. Your heart knows its own song. You just have to trust it and do the work, do the practice. Now, that's the first research. But there is, how are we going to go from like what we saw in the first research? Let me summarize that. There's 3 key takeaways from the first research. Your emotions shape your heart rhythms. Your heart has a resonant frequency of its own. And positive emotions lock you into the coherence. That's you, your brain, your body. Now, if our hearts have a resonant frequency, the next big question we wanted to explore was, could your hearts also resonate with the Earth's own magnetic frequencies? And that's what gets us into the research too, the deep dive on the research too. Now, again, I want to start with you. Just like, when you close your eyes, when you shift your emotions, you can feel the difference. The same way, I want to ask, before going to the research too, some basic questions. How many of you have ever felt off for no reason? Restless, can't sleep, emotionally unsettled. And then later, you found that there was like a solar storm or a geomagnetic event happening. And I felt that, like, for no reason, I would be like a little bit anxious or anything, like, I don't know what's happening, quite sensitive. And then you just forget it, like, okay. And it happens like every now and then, there's no reason, but it does happen. And many of you are using your HeartMath tools like Inner Balance app every day, and we'll show you like, what if like your heart rhythms and the Earth's magnetic fields are literally like working together. And that's what exactly we want to show with data. And we want to answer this big question that you're seeing here. It's pretty much like, if your hearts produce a rhythm that connects to your brain and body, could your heart rhythm also connect to something bigger? And this was Dr. Rollin was super excited to figure this out. Like he came up with this big question. Hey, we finished the research one. I'm okay, like it's your heart, your brain, your body, but I'm more interested and I really want to know the data, what it shows. Like, is my heart connected with the Earth's magnetic rhythm? And to answer the big question, we needed a much bigger data set and a much longer time horizon. And there comes the largest study of its kind. I'll let you grasp for a minute, like it's 9.6 million sessions, but know that this 9.6 million is cleaned sessions. Like we started with even larger than this, like close to like 10 million and plus. So we have to take the data, clean the data, remove some artifacts, and then collect like something that we can trust to start our process. And that's over like 7 years of continuous data from 2017 to 2023. And I bet if you were doing any of your HeartMath sessions with your Inner Balance app from 2017 to 2023, we have analyzed your data. You are a part of this research. And that's what makes it even more special. And I know many of you have used your Inner Balance app and your heart coherence sessions, and you've been like practicing consistently, and which is great because it helps us to learn. And we'll show you like how the 7 years, which is like 2017 to 2023, it's moving from a quiet solar minimum cycle, which is like the cycle 24, the solar cycle 24, and then it ascends it and gets into an active phase of solar cycle 25. And when I talk about the solar cycle, like when we were in 2017, like it was finishing up the cycle 24, and then it's like starting the cycle 25, and the cycle 25 is the mid of cycle 25 is October 2024, but we just finished like in 2023 our study. And but usually like what happens is like the sun's energy peaks after the middle, the 2 years before it descends. So we have like pretty much captured the data that the sunspot numbers, like from it's increased to like decreased and then it increased. So I'll show you the trend in the chart. And what we did was, most importantly, we matched every single day of heart rhythm data sessions, every single day of every HeartMath sessions that is practiced from 2017 to 2023 with the solar and geomagnetic data from NASA, with the sunspot counts, solar radio flex, cosmic ray intensity, solar wind speed, the geomagnetic disturbances, all that we fetched from NASA, the same years, the 7 years. And then we have the 7 years of HeartMath data of everyone who did every single day the sessions. And plus, the most important thing I want to add on to this is we also used data from the HeartMath's own global coherence monitoring system. That's a network of all sensitive magnetometers that measure the Earth's magnetic field around the clock, which, if you remember, Dr. Nakam Plonka, he showed an image of the magnetometer, and he said, like, it feels like you can go and lie down on it, but don't do it. That's the magnetometer that's been like spread across. And we have that data because that's really measuring the Earth's magnetic field, the ULF and the Schumann resonance. I think it has the highest sampling rate that we are measuring every single second, actually. The question here now is, now that we have all this data, we have the human heart rhythm data from HeartMath, we have the solar and geomagnetic environment from NASA, and then we have the magnetometer data from HeartMath global monitoring system, the magnetometers. So what can we do about it? That's the research, the second research that I'm taking you to. And before we go, I just wanted to have a small talk on this picture that you see, the sun, earth, and our heart connection. And here's a quick primer. Like the sun goes through, like I said, roughly 7-year cycle. During solar maximum, which we are in right now. Even though the peak finished in 2024 October, we're still in the max because in the descending state, the sun is very active the first 2 years. And you have like more sunspots, more solar flares, and the more energy that is streaming towards Earth. And that energy hits the Earth's magnetosphere. And that's the invisible magnetic bubble that protects us. And within that bubble, there is two resonant frequencies. The one is the Schumann resonance, which is about like 7.83 hertz. And these actually overlap with our brain waves, the Schumann resonance brain waves, like which is 7.83 hertz. The ultra low frequency, which is the ULF or the magnetic waves, and these overlap directly with our heart rhythms, right in the coherence frequency range of zero 0.1 hertz. So we can easily answer the question with the data that we have. When the sun gets more active and these fields get more energized, what happens to our heart? And that's what we went about researching. And here's the chart. I'll give you some time to like look at this chart. So if you look at this chart, you see that there is purple bars that show that the ULF magnetic field power, which is measured by HeartMath's own magnetometers around the world. And there is a green line that shows the average coherence score of the global user population. And if you watch it happening, what's happening from 2017 to 2023, if you look at it, you see that in 2017, average coherence was about 2.1. As the Earth's magnetic field energy increased year after year with the solar cycle rising, by 2023, the average coherence has risen to 3.5. The correlation, which is 0.56, is statistically significant. And here's the kicker. The ULF magnetic field power was the single most consistent predictor of coherence across all our analysis at both weekly and monthly scales. So what does it mean? What does it mean to you? Think of Earth's magnetic field as a giant tuning fork, When you are in coherence, your heart can hear that tuning fork and synchronize with it. The field isn't causing your coherence. You, with your practice and your emotions, you are causing coherence. But the field appears to support and amplify it, which just means it's not a one-way street. It's a conversation between your heart and the earth. And I want to repeat this again because this is the most key learning of this whole research that we did. You put all your effort and you have to do your practice and your emotions play a part. But once you do that, the Earth's magnetic field is a tuning fork that amplifies you, that supports you, that takes you up and energizes you. And we'll show you in the next chart, which talks about the sunspot numbers, just like the ULF. Now let's go bigger scale, the sun itself. Let's go to the sun. The blue bars shows the sunspot counts. It measures the solar activity. The green line actually tracks the average coherence of the entire global population. As the sun becomes more active from 2017 to 2023, the average coherence of people practicing with HeartMath tools also is rising along with it. So the correlation is like 0.56. And these are robust correlations across 7 years with sunspots and solar radio flux. So what it actually means is you might have the beat to beat heart rhythm is getting more and more coherent as we get more and more energy from the sun. The heart becomes more ordered. And we can say, as the sun woke up, so did our collective coherence too. Now let's connect all this. If you have gone through literature, there is two types of stories that you'll be hearing. Like, because when we got this data, we were like, there is a paradox here, because research has been published and also says that, which we call it as the stressor story. When you have solar storms, it leads to more heart attacks, more anxiety, more sleep disruption. Sun's energy seems harmful. There's several published research that talks about that. Now, when we analyzed HeartMath's data of people doing coherence, and then the nature and all the sunspot numbers and ULF energy, the Earth's energy, we see that there is a synchronizer story, which tells that the Schumann resonances, the solar radio flux, they are associated with increased calm, higher HRV, and people's rhythm actually syncing with the Earth's field. The sun's energy seems helpful. So, how can both be true? Like, how can the same environmental force, when some report it's harmful for them, and we are seeing the data from the HeartMath practice sessions that it is helpful? It has increased the coherence in a significant way that is statistically significant. And with the data, we resolve this paradox, and the answer is beautiful. And here's the answer. The answer simply, like when you hear like two stories, now we put both of them together, and then here's what it is: like an unregulated nervous system. Like when your system is not regulated, a system that is not in coherence experiences the geomagnetic activity as a stress. The storms batter it, the fluctuations disrupt it. That's what all the studies are measuring. But we measured a coherent nervous system at HeartMath, one that has been trained through practice and positive emotions. The experiences here, that same energy of sun is supportive here. It doesn't get disrupted. It actually gets amplified. The only difference is it is an intentional heart coherence practice. The very thing that you do every day with your inner balance sensor. And if I have to tell it in like a very simple term, like think of a sailboat. Without a sail up, the wind batters you, pushes you around, capsizes you. And that's an unregulated nervous system in a geomagnetic storm. But when your sail is fully open, and which is your coherence practice and your positive emotions, your heart focused breathing, that same wind carries you forward. It becomes a fuel and not a friction. The study one, we showed the positive emotions, the excitement, the appreciation, the joy that set the sail. And then we connect to study two, because when study one, when you create the coherence, you take the first step to create your coherence. The study two shows that your coherence changes your relationship with the entire planetary field. And if you look at it, the Earth's field, let's talk the Earth's field as a tuning fork. And one side, it's beautiful, the geomagnetic field, the Schumann resonance, and the ULF. These waves acts like a global tuning fork, like your brain wave, the heart wave, that the Earth's own magnetic field is acting like a global tuning fork. On the other side, you have your coherent heart, which is resonating, synchronized, and in conversation with the field. Both are in phase, moving together. When the field power is higher, the coherence power is higher, and they are in phase and supporting each other. It's a two-way communication. The field, to be again very clear, the field isn't causing your coherence. You are creating it with your practice and your emotions. But the field reaches back towards you. It supports you, it amplifies you. And that's incredible. You sit down for a few minutes of heart-focused breathing. You're not just calming yourself. And that's the key takeaway. You're entering into a conversation with the planet. You are receiving the support. You are like getting it amplified. And that, in fact, like, connects me with like what Dr. Joe is talking about. Like, you take the time to meditate, you ground yourself, and you are in coherent, then the field is supporting you. It's amplifying all your efforts. And that's with the data that which we are showing. And here's something even more beautiful. Like right now, literally this week, sun is very active. And I saw that the M6 flares just happened like a few days before, like the time we started this event, Love Unleashed event. And geomagnetic storms, like there's one storm expected to arrive. So you are practicing coherence together in this retreat, and you are doing it during an energetically active period. Based on our research, that means the environmental field is especially supportive of our collective practice. Our sail is up and the wind is blowing. Let's make the best use of the time. And I want to connect and finally talk about these. What are the key takeaways from all this talk that I've done for the past like 20, 25 minutes? Like, what is the key takeaway? If you have to remember this, all I want you to do is remember the key takeaways. Like, know that you are not separate from your environment. Your heart rhythms are in conversation with the Earth's magnetic field, especially during coherence practice. The number two is people report like, oh, solar activity, it can cause, more problems, this and that. Like people treat that as a threat. With our data, we are seeing that for someone practicing coherence, this increased environmental energy is a fuel. It's not a friction. And we are all in an active solar period right now, and that's actually a good news for our practice. The number three, your practice matters more than you think. Coherence doesn't just change your body. It may change how you relate to the entire planetary system. And the final takeaway is we are all connected. Nearly 10 million sessions across the world from people of every demographics and all culture, all age, and shows a collective pattern. We rise and fall together with the rhythms of our planet. And that is why events like this, the Love Unleashed events, matter the most. When we practice coherence together, like we are doing in this retreat, like you're not just doing something nice to yourself. The data suggests you're participating in something much larger than you. And with that, like, I want to talk about the new paradigm, right? The new paradigm is we all want to make sure that we grasp this, right? Like we are not passive recipients of our environmental stress, but we are active participants in a dynamically interconnected global field. And that's the conclusion of our research. And I want to leave you with this, like every time you sit down with your inner balance sensor, every time you do a heart lock-in, every time you breathe into your heart and feel appreciation or excitement or love, you are not just calming yourself down. You are tuning your system to resonate with the planetary field that appears to be reaching back towards you. And these are not just like nice feelings, like they are the frequency of coherence. And coherence is the language your heart speaks to the earth. I repeat it. Coherence is the language your heart speaks to the earth. Your coherence practice is your sail. The earth's field is the wind. Keep practicing consistently. The data from 10 million sessions says that it's working. And we want you to keep contributing to this, contributing to our research, and we help each other. Thank you so much for this wonderful opportunity. I truly appreciate it. I think that was it. Thank you all. Thank you all.
Yes, that was wonderful, wasn't it?
Thank you.
Yes, here we go.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Appreciate that. Thank you. Thank you.